The Indian rupee began the week by extending its recent slide.
On Monday, the rupee slid to a fresh lifetime low of 90.79 per dollar, marking the third consecutive session of record lows. We decode that and more in the next report. Take a look.
The Indian currency has weakened over 6% against the dollar this year to a fresh record low of beyond 90 rupees per dollar. What stands out is not just the level of the rupee, but the speed. Yet beneath the surface, the story is far more nuanced than the price action suggests. Indian stocks are starting to feel the effects of the rupee's repeated decline to record lows in recent weeks. From a purely fundamental lens, the rupee's weakness looks difficult to justify. Recent trade data showed a deficit narrowing $24.53 billion last month, down from $31.92 billion a year ago. That is the smallest gap in 5 months. Perhaps more importantly for sentiment, exports to the United States rose by $1.3 billion despite elevated tariffs. In other words, Indian exporters continue to find demand and the external account is not flashing any warning signs. That reinforces a key point markets are increasingly aware of. The rupee's problem right now is not fundamentals, it is confidence. That confidence gap largely stems from one unresolved issue, the India-US trade deal. While there has been no fresh economic shock, the lack of clarity continues to weigh on sentiment. Talks are moving on two fronts, a longer-term bilateral trade agreement and a near-term framework to address 50% US tariffs on Indian exporters. Until markets see this framework move from words to paper, the rupee is likely to remain sensitive to headlines and speculation. Globally, conditions have not been hostile. The dollar index fell for a third consecutive week, pressured by expectations of further policy easing from the US Federal Reserve. Normally, a softer dollar would provide meaningful relief to emerging market currencies. But for the rupee, this support has been diluted by persistent portfolio outflows and lingering trade-related uncertainty. The Reserve Bank of India has only stepped in to cut out extreme volatility. However, the pace of rupee depreciation is expected to slow, especially if trade negotiations show progress. Business Bureau WION World is One.